What's up, everybody? Ghost Gamer here as usual, and today we are going to be reviewing Splinter Cell Blacklist, or Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist. Now, I have to admit, I actually just started playing this a few days ago, although it came out, I believe, last year. I want to say like summertime 2013. Just started playing it mainly because, well, I don't really have an excuse. I think I may have forgotten about it. I don't know. I can't remember. It was El Cheapo at the store. I picked it up, played it. Now I'm reviewing it. Plain, simple, clean cut, and methodical. Now, for those of you who do like or do not like the Tom Clancy franchise of video games, this one kind of falls in line. Although, I have to be honest, although this game is kind of fun for me, I have to say this kind of reminds me of like a mix between like your basic Battlefield, Call of Duty franchises with Metal Gear Solid thrown into the mix. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. And quite frankly, I know this is the Tom Clancy thing, but this seems very heavily similar to Metal Gear Solid. I mean, everything from the way you can kind of modify and manipulate your weapons, your suits and things like that. Also, the airplane, which you'll see, I think, later on in the video, where you basically, you're working out of the airplane type deal. And for those of you who have still yet to play it, I'm not going to try and give away too much information because that's not how I like to roll. But it's one of those things. The storyline is okay. It's not very great. It's just mediocre. It's okay. It's not something that that basically floored me and made me want to watch the cutscenes because it got really cliche and kind of annoying at times. So I spent quite a few times later on in my gameplay just skipping cutscenes instead of actually watching them to figure out what was going on. Because pretty much in the back of my head, I think I know what's going on, and lo and behold, around every other corner, I'm pretty much right. So, with that being said, also back to that whole concept of, kind of feeling like other video games. Now that I'm thinking about it, it actually kind of reminds me of Hitman Absolution. It's one of those things where it would have probably been a much better video game if it didn't have the title before it. So, Hitman Absolution would have probably been a better game, towards, in lieu of the opinion of gamers, if it didn't have the Hitman name in front of it. If they would have broke away from the franchise and released a completely different game, more people would have been happy. I think it's kind of the same way with Blacklist. Because quite frankly, it's one of those things that kind of makes me wonder that, it's gotten negative reviews and it's got positive reviews. And I'll give my view on what I think it is here in a moment. But it kind of makes me wonder if, they dropped the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell from the title and just went with like Blacklist or Tom Clancy's Blacklist or what have you. I honestly think more people would have probably liked it a little, I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's one of those things that kind of makes you wonder in the back of my head, because I've heard mixed reviews on this before I even went and got it. And I think that had a lot to do with why I didn't go out and pick it up until recently. As far as mechanics go, it is a console port. I hate to say that because, lo and behold, I play on computer. I'd much rather play a shooter game on PC versus console. However, this is the third-person... This is a third-person shooter, so console actually might not be that bad. I'm not a big fan that you don't have a first-person view at all, even though you are teased at the very beginning with a setup for your, how your first and third person are, is essentially set up. Whether the look is inverted and all that good stuff. So I was kind of hoping that I could switch back and forth between the first or third person. However, that is not the case. There is a case where it jumps into first person rather, on a couple occasions, outside of looking down a scope or an ACOG or some kind of optic. But you are stuck with the third person. You don't have that ability to switch back and forth between a first and third person. Kind of sucked. Don't like that. It is what it is. I'll get over it. Graphics aren't bad. They're, I mean, they could have been optimized a little bit more. They could have been pushed a little bit more. But again, we're talking about essentially a video game that was marketed towards consoles. The 360 and the PS3, blah, blah, blah. So us gamers who are rocking out on PC kind of got stiffed a little bit. It happens. The graphics aren't bad. They're not horrible. Don't get me wrong. I still feel that they use the shininess of materials a little too much, kind of like you see in Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. I don't care for that. It is what it is. But the audio, not bad. The AI is, something left to be desired. The AI is kind of on the ball at times and then just completely off kilter at others. It happens. I'm more of a run and gun person. I'm not very stealthy, so I don't care for the most part. But there has been times where I basically walked right past an AI and was able to mark the target and then just turn around and take them out with no issue at all. They never saw me. And it was pretty sad because, I was right in front of them. But, like I said, there's sometimes the AI is good, sometimes the AI is bad. Some of the voice acting is actually pretty decent. However, there are a few that you just kind of wonder why. Wonder why they actually went with that actor. They should have went with somebody else. Camera control is really annoying at times, at least in my opinion. It's not one of those things that, how do I put it? It's not glitchy per se, but I think it's mainly because the camera was optimized more for a console than it was for a PC, and it seems a little sticky, if you will, maybe a little glitchy or snappy. There's something about it I just don't care for. There are many times where it's not a problem, but it seems like a lot of the problem is whenever you're in a close quarters area where you're having the camera that's trying to follow you around, but you don't really have a whole lot of room. If you're out in the open, it's perfectly fine. It seems that if you get more confined, that's when we have more issues with it, and I just don't care for it. All in all, screw the fanboys, screw the haters. We're going to throw this right down the middle. I'm going to have to say, literally down the middle, that I'd probably give it about a 5.5 or a 6 if I were to rate it. Mainly because it's one of those things that I am a fan of the old Splinter Cell, but this is new. It's not the same. I understand that. They could have tightened it up a little bit better, especially when dealing with the whole, the port for PC. Quit throwing us to the curb and, basically just saying, screw the PC users. We'll just tailor ourselves to, 360, PS3, or now PS4 and Xbox One, and we'll just basically throw the PC users a bone so they could shut up and not really optimize it as well as it could have been. That is my take on it. I'm not going to say it was a very, very good game, because, quite frankly, if it wasn't for the, what was it called? I think it's Spies and Mercs. The game would have been really short. It's not a very long campaign for a single player. Yes, you have the ability to run multiplayer. You also have the ability to run co-op, plus you have the Spies and Mercs, which elongate the game the gameplay, I should say, just a little bit more, but for the most part, the console. For the most part, the concept is full of cliches. It's kind of predictive. I can't even remember where I was going to go with that. Oh well, basically, Ubisoft or Ubisoft, depending on who you're talking to, needs to quit basically burning some of the bridges with games. They have a tendency to kind of muck things up a little bit. It's kind of annoying. They really need to stop doing it. And by all means, if you are a video game developer, please listen to me real well and listen good. Get rid of mandatory tutorial missions. They're annoying. Nobody likes them. We are gamers. We pretty much understand that all games are alike in some way, shape, or form. Granted, the key bindings on this one are a little weird, but you get used to it. And if you don't know how to do something, that's what the escape key is for. You find out in the menu. Be done with it. But that's all I have. I'm Ghost Gamer. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to check back later. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. I will answer them as soon as I can. And until next time in the next game, I'll catch you cats later.